Okay, I'm going to make a solid cherry rolling pin. I got a piece of cherry here that was 2 inches thick. After planing it down, it's about 1 3/4 inches. I've used the thickness of stock to set my fence up, so my rip will be the same as the thickness, making both dimensions equal. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to run the piece on through. Okay, what we're going to do, I'm going to true up one end. And we're going to make the other end 18 1/4. Sorry about that, I had to grab a pencil. 18 1/4, that's going to be our final length. And just cut it off. Okay, using this device here, we're going to mark the center point on each end. You can pick this little centering template up at Woodcraft. It's about $7 or $8. Alright, not sure if you can see that, but there's the center mark right there. Both dimensions are equal, so it's nice and square. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back to the table saw. I'm going to set it on a 45, and I'm just going to go ahead and take these corners off. That is just going to speed up the roughing in process to get this blank round. Okay, the next step that I like to do, just saves a little time on the lathe. Set the table saw up on a 45, and I'm just going to knock the corners off of this blank. Okay, I'll go ahead and I'm going to take the other two corners off and take it over and get it ready to put it on the lathe. Okay, I take the spur center on my center line mark. Drive it in on one end, flip it around, do the same on the opposite end. Alright, now just load it in the lathe. Put your tailstock point in the hole there. Lock it down. Get the tool rest in where I want it. Okay, I got it set up on the lathe. Got a long tool rest installed. I'm just going to slide the whole tool rest over just a little bit more, about right there. And start it up. Nice and balanced. And I'm going to start roughing it out. And my RPM is just about 1100. Which is about ideal for starting to do this step. So I'm just going to start working it a little bit back and forth, and I'll shut it off. I'll slide the tool rest down, do the right side, and just work it down kind of evenly across the whole blank. Adjust that just a little bit lower, and turn the speed up just a touch. We'll go ahead, slide it down, do a little bit on this end. Tailstock came loose a little bit, sometimes that happens. Got a little bit of a knot here that's going to create a little bit of problem, not too bad, but it will give some nice character to the rolling pin. Still got a little ways to go. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and finish getting this turned around, and then we'll go on to the next step. Okay, I got the cylinder turned around, with the exception of a little bit at the ends, but I'm going to be turning those down anyhow. From about right here to about right here, that's going to be the actual rolling surface of the pin. That's what's most critical. So what we're going to do, we're going to mark the center point, which is 9 1/8, and then I'm going to come off my center point back to 6 inches. And just put your pencil right up against the stock and just turn it on for a moment. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to make one more mark, 1.5 inches in. And 1.5 inches in off of this one. Next step is between these two lines I'm going to create a cove, and then this last little bit right here will get turned down after that. Okay, there you have it. Next step, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to sand it down. I'm going to start with some coarse sandpaper, probably 80 or 100 grit, and then I'll work it on down through like 150 and then 220. And from this step on, it's about the same as a cutting board or a cheese cutter. I got a little crack here from the knot. Since it's not going to be in the food surface area, I'm just going to fill it with a little bit of thick CA just to kind of stabilize it. I think that'll be a nice little contrast, a little bit of look to the rolling pin. I'm going to do that. I'm going to sand that just a little more. And then just like a cutting board or cheese board, we need to raise the grain, which involves just getting this wet and letting it air dry. So I will do all of that, and I'll be back with you and we'll finish it up. I got a little crack here from the knot. Since it's not going to be in the food surface area, I'm just going to fill it with a little bit of thick CA just to kind of stabilize it. I think that'll be a nice little contrast, a little bit of look to the rolling pin. I'm going to do that. I'm going to sand that just a little more. And then just like a cutting board or cheese board, we need to raise the grain, which involves just getting this wet and letting it air dry. So I will do all of that, and I'll be back with you and we'll finish it up. Okay, I wetted it down, let it air dry. And there's just a couple steps left to do. I'm going to sand it down with some 220 grit. I'm trying to lay down in fairly slow speed. About 1100, that's about good. Okay, we're ready to put a finish on it. The finish that I like to use is just plain Jane old mineral oil. You can pick this up Walgreens, Walmart, Tractor Supply. So what I do, I just put a little bit on a paper towel, turn the lathe on as slow as it'll go, and just apply a little bit and just rub it in. It can get a little bit messy, it's not too bad. Alright, I'm going to fold the paper towel over to the dry side. I'm going to turn the lathe up just a little bit. I'm just going to take the excess off. And this will remove any of the fine dust that was left on it as well. Alright, next step I'm going to use, I have a new piece of paper towel. The blue Scotch shop towels work really well for this, but at the moment I am out of them. I'm going to take some mineral oil with beeswax melted into it. This is my board butter. I'm just going to apply a little bit to the paper towel. Turn the lathe back on again. And just going to go ahead and put a little bit of this wax mixture on it. Fold it over to the clean side of the paper towel again, and just gonna kind of buff it a little bit. You can, as a final step, you can speed the lathe up. Okay, the only thing left to do now is right here at the very end of the rolling pin where I put the little bit of a bevel on there. I'm going to take it to the miter saw and I'm going to take about a blade width off. That's going to remove the hole, and it's also going to remove the little nicks for my spur center. And I will give that a light sand and wax it up, and this rolling pin will be complete.